Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to rank my Sezane clothing from most worn to least worn. I realized that this is the 5th year I'm ordering from Sezane. I think it all started with my very first order of this white blouse, and my collection has definitely grown from there. I've come to know really what to expect when I place an order, and I thought I'll share some of that information with you today. I'm ranking it from most worn to least worn because I think the ultimate test of whether something was a good buy is really how often I have actually worn it. I have a couple of quick things I'd like to mention before we get started. Sezane makes up about 40% of my wardrobe. In pretty much all of my daily outfits, I'm wearing something from Sezane, and it's because I do really love the brand and the quality of their clothing. Quality and style of their clothing. Because some of these clothes are almost 5 years old, some of these clothes are newer, I'm ranking it based on how often I've worn it in the recent year. I feel like that's the fairest way to do it and the most relevant. In first place, we've got the Sezane Alicia skirt. When it comes to the style, I would say this is on the long side of a midi skirt, which is what I prefer. It's got some pleats throughout the skirt to add a bit of fullness. It's got a wraparound detail and then a slit on one side. The skirt goes with almost everything I own, and that's pretty much the reason why I wear it so often. This skirt is in the exact same style, but this one is a little bit more bold, so this one I don't think I wear nearly as often as this one. When we're talking about the quality of material, I thought I'll make a comparison between this skirt, which is viscose, and this one, which is a silk blend. The material here is a little bit thicker, it feels a little bit more sturdy in comparison to the silk. The silk one definitely shows some wear and tear in different places, and it's just in general a lot more delicate than this one. Because this one is so hard wearing, I never hesitate to reach for it, and it's also one of the reasons why it is my most worn piece. I believe the Alicia skirt is a permanent piece for Sezane, because they seem to release it every single season with a new fabric. This one is still available in this particular material. What I'll do throughout this video is that I'll number what I'm talking about, and then I'll either link the exact same thing if it's available, or I will link a dupe on their website because they often release similar things to past collections. My second most worn piece from Sezane are their belts. Had you asked me this question last year, I would have put belts towards the end of my list, but in the past year, I've really enjoyed styling outfits with a belt, and I've gotten so much more wear from all of these. This one here is probably the most iconic Sezane belt, and I find that Sezane really loves a very thick belt when it comes to their styling. As someone more petite, I tend to avoid that, and this is probably as thick as I would go. This one I think is super wearable, but it's just got a little bit of detail in the buckle that makes it interesting. And then this last one I like because it's very simple, but it's also got two different textures going on, which is just a nice touch. All of these belts feel very thick and sturdy, like they will last. And because I like to twist and knot my belts a lot, especially with this one, I'm really impressed that it hasn't really worn away anywhere. Even with bending it, there's no cracks on the side, there's no damage to the leather, and I think that's pretty impressive. I've had all of these for about 2 to 3 years now, and you will continue to see me style it in different outfits. I previously had these knits in different positions, but to save time, I'm going to talk about them together and then in chronological order of how often I wear it. All of these knits belong in the top half of my most worn category, and then I have some other knits I don't wear as much, which I'll talk about towards the end. My most worn is my Sezane Leontine knit. I really love striped knits in general, but this one I like because of the shape. It's quite wide and boxy, but it's also more cropped. The crop shape makes it super easy to tuck into my trousers, to my jeans, or to a skirt, and there's not a lot of excess material to work with. The cotton material of this knit means that it's not super soft or fluffy, it's more of a structured knit, and I think it falls over the body in a very flattering way. This next piece I haven't had in my wardrobe for nearly as long as the Leontine, but this is a navy knit and it's got some buttons along the front. The reason why I really like this one is because of the material. This one's 100% merino wool. It feels really nice on the skin. If I wanted to compare it to something like a Uniqlo merino knit, this one is a lot more substantial. It's got a lot more fabric to it in comparison to the Uniqlo ones. I like the overall pattern on the knit, and it's also got some buttons at the front, which I think is a nice touch. This knit is not the most exciting, especially against some other Sezane knits, but I think everything about it feels very intentional. It really is an elevated basic, and it's the kind of piece I wear a lot in the transitional season inside an oversized jacket or a blazer. This is a slightly more surprising one. This is the Betty knit. This one's also made from 100% merino wool, so it is really incredibly high quality and very comfortable even on bare skin. If you have sensitive skin, you don't like scratchy knits, I would definitely recommend going for merino wool over any of the wool blends that they do. If we're talking about quality, I would say this knit, the navy one I just showed, and then the Leontine are my 3 highest quality knits from Sezane. I've tried a lot and I really think these 3 are the nicest I've had from the brand. I've decided to rank my Sezane cardigans at this point. Because I've had this one for almost 5 years now, I have worn it a lot, probably more than anything else I'm showing in this video. In the last year or 2, I've still worn this quite a lot, but not as often as some other pieces I've shown, which is why it's here. Let me start by saying the reason why I wear these so often is because I find the style so beautiful. I think the enamel buttons are just absolutely stunning. I love the lace pattern on the knit, and this color I think is also very wearable, but it's still a color. It's really versatile and it can make any simple outfit that much more elevated, just with the buttons and then the pattern. I'll have the material composition of these on the screen so you can see, but anytime that it is a wool blend, I find the quality to be a bit more unpredictable. Sometimes it can be really nice, sometimes it can be a little scratchy. So I will always prefer my merino wool knits as well as my cotton knits. I've kind of re-ranked a couple of things as I'm moving along, but the last knit I'm going to talk about is this one. This is my chunkiest knit and this is the James style. They currently don't have the James knit in this stripe material, but they have a few very similar ones which I'll link down below. This always makes me feel super cozy, super chic in winter. I think this is actually a very soft knit. Anytime it's merino wool, it's very soft, and this is no exception. I've gotten some questions about the pilling, and I do think that there's some pilling. Let me just show you up close. I think it's pilling the worst in this area. I hope you guys can see some of it. But what I usually do is that I just take a cashmere comb and gently run through it, and it takes away all the pilling. I think some pilling is unavoidable with knitwear, and it usually doesn't bother me too much unless it's very bad. And I don't think this is very bad. This is definitely another piece I wear for the style. There is something just so incredibly chic about a chunky cable knit that is also a stripe. It feels like the perfect winter knit and I reach for it a lot in the cold. This white blouse over here was in my first ever Sezane order and it's probably what kickstarted everything else. Given that this is a white lace blouse, it's not at all surprising that it's in my most worn. But I think what sets this one apart is that very, very beautiful pattern or lace work on the top. If we look up close, we've just got this detail throughout and it's really, really very beautiful. Beyond that, I also like the ruffles and the fact that they're not too dramatic. Because it's more understated, I can wear it with almost anything and it makes it a lot more versatile. On a top like this, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for loose threads and for fraying, but I've never had any of that in the many years I've had it. So this is definitely a winner and something I will continue to wear. Next up, we've got the Tomboy shirt, and this was a gift from Sezane, and they actually put my initials on it as well. So before getting this shirt, I was honestly not much of a shirt person. I probably wouldn't have purchased the shirt because I don't really wear a lot of shirts. Because I was gifted this, I started trying it on with more and more of my clothes, and I feel like since receiving this shirt, I've actually started to wear shirts in general a lot more. This is just a simple blue shirt, but there are a few things about it that make me actually wear it quite often. This one is oversized, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not too voluminous throughout. And then if you choose to wear it out or just half tucked, it's not too long either. This shirt for me is a bit of a classic, so even though it's not wildly exciting or unique, I find myself wearing it quite often because it's simple, it's nice quality, and I like the shape. A note about the Tomboy is that if you order it in another color, the material can be quite different. I ordered it in a natural color once with some blue dots, and that one felt a little bit more sheer. It didn't feel as soft or as nice as this one. So keep that in mind with the different colors, sometimes the quality is a bit different. Over here we've got the Tim vest, and this is a very simple blue denim vest. I would almost compare this to an accessory, for example a scarf or a belt, because I really use it to add interest to an outfit as opposed to being super functional. This item made it into my most worn because it is just so versatile. Instead of talking about it, I'm just going to show you some of the ways I've styled it and you can kind of see for yourself. The denim is currently out of stock. I don't know if they'll bring it back, but they have a black denim one, and then they also have it in khaki, which is my personal favorite. There is a pink one, but the pink is a bit strange, and I don't know how I would style that. So my favorite would be the khaki if you're looking for something similar. We've got a very pretty pink midi skirt over here, and in the first year I had it, I wore it constantly. I literally styled it with everything, and anytime I had a chance to dress up slightly, I will wear this skirt. But since then, I haven't worn it as much because I've realized that it's a bit more delicate. If I can just show you here, I can see some fading of the material. Throughout, I can see a couple of little kind of pulls or loose threads. Nothing serious, but it makes me feel this material is a little bit more delicate, and maybe I shouldn't wear it to some of the places I've worn it. Next up, we've got the Dorian short. It's a very lightweight material, which makes it super nice to wear in the summertime. I like that it's frilly, so it almost looks like a mini skirt instead of a short. And in general, I just think it's a very pretty design. The material of this short for me is a little bit on the light side. The place where the fabric meets the zipper is starting to open up a little bit, like there's a seam that's ripping. So I do need to fix that up myself. It seems like a pretty simple fix. Because of the position of the rip, I feel like it was a issue with the design as opposed to an accident. The zipper is not reinforced that well, and I feel like it's inevitable that this little rip happened. I really like the way this looks, but I think the design can be improved a bit, especially with the zipper, to make it feel a bit more strong and just better quality. The next couple of pieces I'm going to talk about together because they are made from the same fabric, and I have a very similar review of them all. Let's start with the blue top I'm wearing. I really love this because of this striking blue color. I really like the shape with this very elegant neckline, and then a little bit of a puff sleeve with a deep cuff. The white one is also made from the same material. It's got a higher neckline and then a little ruffle on the sleeve. Both of these I think fit really well. They're very stretchy, so they're very comfortable. And then because they're stretchy, they also fit to me very well. When it comes to dresses, I've got a black one and also a green one. You may have seen me style these quite often in the last couple of years because I think they're very flattering dresses, and similar to the tops, they're very stretchy, they're very comfortable. They kind of hug you quite tightly in a really flattering way. There is something about this material that makes these dresses feel very flattering. In general, I like to stay away from dresses that are very tight. 90% of the time, I don't like the way it looks. But these are a bit of an exception, and I just find these to be very flattering. The only downside for me when it comes to these pieces is the fact that they're 72% Eco-Vero, and then the rest is a synthetic blend. I really don't have a problem with Eco-Vero or viscose. It's always been fairly comfortable when I've had it on. The part that I don't love is the synthetic component, which I wish was not there. When you feel the fabric, it definitely feels quite soft and smooth against the skin. It's not itchy because it doesn't have wool, and it also doesn't feel uncomfortable when I have it on. And I think that's probably the most important thing. Of the 4 pieces, I feel like the blue one has been my most worn, followed by the white, and then the 2 dresses. Just because the 2 dresses are a little bit more fancy and a bit more dressed up than these simple tops. A lot of prints for me fall into this middle category where they are not as versatile as the more simple pieces, but I still like them enough to pull them out every so often and wear them. This is a linen Chloe shirt, and I really like this because of that very unique Chloe design. The collar detail feels really special, and just a really nice ruffle accent around the neckline. This is a linen shirt, so the quality of it feels really nice. It's very comfortable to wear, and because I don't really have a plaid shirt, this is a very nice addition to my wardrobe. These 2 pieces are very similar. They're both floral blouses, so both of these are so beautiful, and especially in spring, these are so nice to wear. I was really drawn to these shirts because they have a very nice collar. It's a very small thing to notice, but the collar is tiny, and I find sometimes a very big collar can feel a bit overwhelming on my frame, and the small collar I find to be super flattering. I really like these floral blouses, and I think it's very possible to style these in a number of different ways, but if I wear this too much and very consecutively, I do tend to get sick of this print, which is why it's in this category as opposed to my most worn. This is the last floral piece, and it's a very beautiful shirt dress. The most special thing about this is definitely the print. I really love that red floral on the blue base, and I feel like this color combination is quite unique. This is future me when editing, and I just wanted to add in that this is a really great dress because I find it very flattering on the figure. While this is not a dress that I wear all the time, Every time I wear it, I really like it, and I don't regret adding it to my wardrobe at all. This jacket here is the Willa jacket. If you asked me a year or two ago, it would have been right at the beginning as one of my most worn pieces. Lately, I've just gotten a little bit tired of looking at this jacket all the time, especially because it's in such a memorable color. So this is the Willa style, and I really like this style of jacket because I think it fits well if you are petite. I always mention this, but the Will style, which is very iconic for them, is definitely more suited to someone a bit taller. Whereas this one, you can see that the sleeves fit really well without tailoring. The jacket length is really good on me and I'm quite short. And everything about the fit, I really like. If you like this jacket but you don't love the blue color, they also make one in a denim shade. And that one feels a bit more versatile. We've got this white dress next, and this dress is very pretty and you can also wear it reversed. In my opinion, it's not as special as some of the other pieces that I really love from the brand. This dress is 51% linen, 49% cotton, and it feels very luxurious and very nice. This dress is very pretty. I actually just pulled it out a few weeks ago to wear, but I think I don't wear it nearly as much as some other pieces here. The next piece is the gym coat, and the only reason this is positioned so far back is because I spent winter last year in lockdown. I think that was last year, and I've not really had a lot of opportunity to wear this coat or a coat in general, so it kind of had to be pushed to the back. This coat here is 60% wool, and I like that it's quite a thick material. Considering that it's a bit thicker, the weight of it is quite light. It's not one of those super heavy coats that you feel like is weighing you down. I'm not sure if this still applies, but I know a while ago the gym coat was around, and I believe it was actually on sale in the archives. So if that is still the case, I'll link it down below. Quality wise, I'm happy with this coat. I just haven't had the chance to wear a coat. The last item in this category is my little straw bag. The straw bag has a brown strap, and I think it was made to be worn on the shoulder like this. But because I am more petite, I can also wear it as a crossbody bag, and it's actually a really good length. And I just think the crossbody actually makes me like this bag a lot more. I recently brought this bag with me to Tasmania on a holiday, and it was great because this bag is super light. It also holds a ton, and it was just a very easy, functional bag. Now moving into my least worn pieces. This red jacket is really nice quality. It's so thick, it feels very soft and very luxe. I just have not worn it nearly as much as I should. Because this jacket is quite thick, I can only really imagine wearing this in late autumn and in winter. I've also noticed with Sezane jackets, so this style, as well as the Willa jacket, so the bright blue one, they tend to not make the sleeves very wide. It's not an issue, it's just a style thing. So they might do a slightly oversized boxy cut, but the sleeves won't be very wide. And I guess I would prefer for a winter jacket to have a little bit more room to layer. These three knits over here were my least worn knits in the last year. This one here is the Gaspard knit, and this was an old favorite of mine, and this was definitely another one of the first pieces I tried from the brand. What made me wear other knits more is that I kind of prefer the neckline of some of my other knits. I tend to like knits that have a really small neckline, so when you put your jacket on or you put your blazer on, there's not a lot of movement. The moment you layer, it kind of sits like slightly off center, and you really need to adjust it for it to be right. I still like this knit. I feel like you can't really go wrong with a black knit with white buttons, but it's just no longer a favorite and most worn. With both of these knits here, you can kind of tell that they're both quite thick and they're both very warm. So that's actually the reason why these are in my least worn, as opposed to quality issues. I think that the shape of it is a little bit boxy. It's not as flattering as some of my other knits, and that's why I've put it towards the end as a least favorite or least worn. So usually I will wear this if I'm wearing a coat, and I will have it as a layering piece as opposed to wearing it by itself. This material is 50% merino wool, 50% cotton, so it does feel very nice. I just really need the right weather to come along so I can wear these pieces. I also feel like I need to keep in mind that I do live in Sydney, I do live in Australia, and the chunky knits will never compete with something that is more light to medium, because those get so much more wear throughout the year. If you don't like the feeling of wool, I feel like this is a really perfect material. The merino feels very soft, the cotton is very soft, so collectively I feel like it's very comfortable to wear. Even if you have sensitive skin, I feel like this will be quite comfortable. I'm trying to think if I have any flaws that I'd like to point out, but actually the quality of this one's very nice. It usually all comes down to how much it suits my lifestyle, or it comes down to the cut and the style of a piece. This is one of my least worn pieces. It's a really beautiful navy silk shirt. This is the Chloe shirt, and I love this style. If I worked in an office, I would be wearing this all the time, but I think I purchased this when I was still working in an office, and then since then I have not. So I really have no occasion to wear a silk shirt anymore. I have the Chloe shirt in the linen style. I like this a lot more because I can wear it, throw in the wash. It's super easy to take care of. Whereas the fact that I need to then hand wash this after I wear it does put me off wearing it casually a lot. A silk shirt for me is definitely a bit of a workwear staple, so I will hold on to this if I ever kind of worked in an office again. But until then, I don't see myself wearing this a whole lot. And I will say if you live a more casual lifestyle, going for a linen or cotton option is just so much easier than silk, especially for tops. Other than one more piece, this was definitely one of my least worn pieces in the last year, and I think I reached for it a handful of times in videos, and that's about it. The last thing in this video and my absolute least worn piece are these Frankie jeans. Out of everything I'm mentioning today, this is the one piece that I don't really like. I love the pieces, even the ones at the end. I don't wear them a lot. I don't feel like they're ideal for my lifestyle, but this one I actually just don't like based on the design. With this jean, I feel like the waistband is kind of unique, but it creates a very odd shape around the front of the hip that I think is not that flattering. If we're talking about quality, I feel like the denim is kind of average. It's not as good as like your Levi's would be, and in general, I just find that fashion brands don't do denim very well. It's kind of thin, it's not very soft, and it's just nothing special at all. That was my Sezane collection from most worn to least worn. So this is literally about 40% of my wardrobe, and I am a big fan of the brand. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I would love for you to go hit the like button down below and consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing more Sezane content. I hope you guys have a lovely week ahead, and I will see you next one. Bye!